is locked, but I've never been more excited about a news freaking story in the longest time. I'm just jacked out of my mind about this. I don't know if you guys have heard, but something monumental, amazing, astounding is about to happen, folks. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. All right. This goes down to the Democrats not wanting to play ball. They have completely overplayed their hands. Trump is taking them to task like never before. I've never been more excited about the news. So do me a favor, smash that like, chat in with where you're from, because this, folks, is great news. The White House is ordering agencies to prep for mass firings during a government shutdown as Dems vow we will not be intimidated. Folks, do you know why this is so great? Because every other time we've had a government shutdown, what happens? What happens, people? Come on. My chat knows this. We back pay the people who didn't work. We never reduced the size of government. We just continued to grow it. So I have got a bunch to say on this. I've got some information from Trump. I've got some information from the Democrats. But the bottom line is, not only are we going to get a government shutdown potentially, but people are actually going to get fired. Oh, God, help us all. This is so awesome. All right, listen to this. Okay, first, I want to read to you a little bit from the BBC because, you got to read from these lefty publications because across the pond, they really care about us firing people. All right, listen to this. From the BBC, White House says to prep for mass firings if government shuts down. The White House has told agencies to prepare for mass firings if Congress does not avert a government shutdown next week, according to a memo obtained by the U.S. media. In the memo, the Office of Budget and Management directs federal agencies to begin drafting reduction in force plans for programs whose funding will lapse if Congress fails to meet a September 30th budget deadline. The warning came after Trump, okay... This is so awesome, folks. If you can't smash the like for this story, I don't know what to do for you. This is the greatest thing I've read all year, okay? Look, what happens when there's a government shutdown, right? They shut down all what kind of services, folks? What's the word I'm looking for? What services, what aspects of the government are shut down? There's a word for it. It's a hyphenated word. Come on, help me out. Help me out. There it is. Josh Oliver got it. Non-essential. So why the hell are we bringing them back? If they're non-essential, let's can their asses. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited. I don't know if you guys could feel my energy, but I've never been so excited. This is the greatest news story of all time. Okay. The warning came after Trump refused a meeting with Democrats who are seeking to secure healthcare funding as part of the budget negotiations. This is the lie of the BBC. Seeking to secure healthcare funding as part of the budget negotiations. Let me skip out of this article for just a second. I got to go to, here's what it is, folks. Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. It's been posted by many members of the U.S. Senate and so on. But here's the thing. The Democrats want illegal aliens, many of them violent criminals, to receive free health care. The Democrats want $500 million to help radical left news outfits. So the Democrats are trying to frame this as Trump's cutting health care for illegal freaking aliens. How many of you, by poll, we're going to do a poll right now in the Lumberjack Logic chat, how many of you want illegal aliens to get your money for health care? How many, yes or no, want illegal aliens receiving your money for their health care? We can't even provide benefits for the veterans, the homeless veterans on our streets, and we're supposed to give all this money to illegal aliens? Give me a freaking break. And then we're going to fund these non-essential services, and then we're going to lay these people off, give them a furlough, give them a vacation, and then we're going to pay them all when they come back to work. My gosh. Oh, the dead boy just mentioned that the link to MyPillow is the biggest joke. Folks, go get your products at mypillow.com/lumberjack. Thank you for reminding me to do a sponsor spot. Yes, that's right, where you can now get my towels. They're back in stock, the best towels you'll ever get. Or you can call 1-800-568-2865. Thank you, Michelle, for posting the link. I love it. It's probably a libtard coming on the chat, and now he gets to hear about my pillow because it reminds me about it. Oh, I love it. Thank you. I almost forgot. I was so excited about this news. $29.88 for percale sheets, and once they're gone, folks. Get your Christmas gifts at mypillow.com/lumberjack. Love ya, baby. Okay, I'm just jacked. I'm sorry. I got to get back to this. The Democrats want to leave dead people on Medicaid and Social Security rolls so that criminals can continue to be allowed to receive the payment and steal their money. Not only that, folks, why else do they want dead people on the Social Security and Medicaid rolls? Come on, folks, you know, it's not just about the money for the Democrats. Why else do they need dead people on Social Security and Medicaid rolls? Come on, because they can then steal what, folks? Because they need them on the rolls. Yes, thank you. Voter fraud. Oh gosh, Trump is ending the criminal enterprise. God help us all. I love this. The Democrats want to cut billions of dollars from our once vulnerable rural hospitals, which we fixed by giving them the largest cash infusion ever. Did you guys see that? Trump actually gave billions of dollars from to the rural hospitals. The Democrats want men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, open borders, and perhaps most importantly of all, 5-letter word, crime. They like it and we don't. And so many other things that will destroy America. We cannot let this happen. So he's not going to go meet with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. And then did you see Chuck Schumer basically begging for a meeting? Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. Okay, now he tries to make it seem like Trump's a bad guy and we need this meeting and everything. Come on, folks. Smash that like. 678 of you on and only 149 likes for the greatest news story you are going to hear today. I can't imagine anything being better than this, okay? Now, Trump went on to say, and this is, see, the Republicans have been so afraid of the media that they never push this issue, right? On government shutdowns. You guys know this. They always think, oh, well, we're going to get blamed for the government shutdown, and so we won't do it. We'll cave to the Democrats. And what do? They put us further and further and further in the hole, and Trump's the first one who's got the balls to take them on. Oh, praise God. He doesn't care about this liberal lying media. He just takes them on. The Budget Office memo warns of permanent firing specifically for federal programs, projects, and activities that have no alternative funding sources and are not consistent with the president's priorities. Many federal government agencies rely on annual funding approved by Congress. Every year, these agencies submit their requests, which Congress must pass, and the president must sign budget legislation for the next fiscal year. A shutdown takes place if an agreement is not reached by the start of the fiscal year on 1 October, meaning all non-essential discretionary functions stop. Again, if these are non-essential discretionary functions, folks, do you want to pay for them? Yes or no? Let's run that in the chat, because they constantly tell us that the American people don't want government shutdowns, that the government people don't want to lose federal services. So are you concerned about federal services for illegal aliens? Are you concerned about non-essential federal services? Or are you concerned about the government stop taking all of our money and spending it on this crap? Whew. Man, I am worked up, folks. I'm telling you, I have not been this excited about a news story in a long time. I was sitting there scrolling through, figuring out what on earth am I going to bring to the great audience of Lumberjack Logic this morning. And I was just finding a bunch of stuff that I did not care about. And then I found this. 14 minutes ago, the BBC released this. It is awesome. They instead proposed, last week, Republicans in the House of Representatives, along with one Democrat, passed a short-term measure to keep the government funded until the 20th of November. But Senate Democrats blocked the bill. They blocked the bill. Imagine that. And now they backed themselves into a corner they can't get out of. They instead proposed their own plan that would restore health care funding after Trump's policy mega bill in July, known as the One Big Beautiful Bill, made steep cuts to Medicaid, the healthcare program relied upon by millions of disabled and low-income Americans. Yeah, because why, folks? Why did Trump cut Medicaid benefits? Do you guys all know what I want answers in the chat here. Why did Trump cut Medicaid benefits, folks? Why? What was the deal there? What was the deal? Who is getting these Medicaid benefits that shouldn't have been getting them? Okay? Yeah, illegal aliens, and who else? Somebody else was getting them. Somebody else was getting these benefits that shouldn't have been getting them. It was illegal immigrants, and who else? Fraudulent recipients, folks. People who were perfectly able to work who would then claim that they were not. Give me a break. On Tuesday, Trump said he was canceling a meeting with Democratic Party leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, saying their demands were unserious and ridiculous. No kidding. They want him to sign on to over $1 trillion of wasteful spending. I'm deciding that no meeting with their congressional leaders could possibly be productive, Trump wrote on social media. After news of the draft firings memo on Wednesday, Democrats accused the White House of using intimidation tactics. Listen to this. Donald Trump has been firing federal workers since day one, not to govern, but to scare, said Schumer, the Democrat Senate Minority Leader. This is nothing new and has nothing to do with funding the government. Since taking office, Trump has already fired thousands of federal workers through his cost-cutting initiative with the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. And now, because the left wants to go off our people, namely Charlie Kirk, guess what they've done? They've gotten Trump and Musk back together. These brilliant people. Anyways, hold on. It gets better. I'm going to go to this. Not only to, intimidate and scare, but listen to this. I'm going to go to a different article, this one from the New York Post. This is nothing new and has nothing to do with the government funding. These unnecessary firings will either be overturned in court or the administration will end up hiring the workers back, just like they did as recently as today. Folks, here's the beautiful thing. No, because these are the non-essential government workers, and they're necessary firings. Let me ask you a question. If you had a business and you did not have the money to pay your workers, what would you do? I'm serious. This isn't like you're not being a meaner, but you're running a business and you do not have the money to pay the workers, folks. What do you do? Okay? Come on. Help me out. Help me out. What do you do? Yeah, you fire them. You fire them, folks. You lay them off, whatever you want to call it. You had to fire them because you don't have the money. Now, the government just prints more money, which makes our money less valuable. And that's the real cause of inflation. It's not because Trump tariffs cheap plastic crap from China. Whoo! All right. And guess what? They will hold up in court because we don't have the money to pay them. And we had a shutdown. We didn't approve a budget. So guess what? The firings will be upheld. Okay, now it gets better. It gets better. Oh, gosh. I love Democrats coming on here talking about my MyPillow link. Go get your MyPillow at mypillow.com/lumberjack. Get your Christmas gifts there. The towels are back in stock. Sheets for $29.88 and the premium MyPillows on a big sale. And free shipping. Free shipping, folks. All right. Listen to this. Even the Atlantic admits, okay, how retarded the Democrats are being lately. And this whole thing with the government shutdown, this is the most beautiful thing. But listen to this. From the Atlantic, you guys know the Atlantic, right? I mean, what is that? Steve Jobs, I think it's Steve Jobs' former wife owns the Atlantic, friends of Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine, however you say it. Okay, so she owns this. It's always the left-wing rag. They're always the ones that promote anonymous sources of Donald Trump saying these terrible things about everybody. Listen to this. Democrats don't seem willing to follow their own advice. Out of the Atlantic. The Atlantic Daily, a newsletter that guides you through the biggest stories of the day, helps you discover new ideas and recommends the best in culture. Immediately following the 2024 presidential election, Democrats seemed to be in rare agreement. They had moved too far to the left on cultural issues, and it had cost them. The day after Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump, and remember, Kamala Harris couldn't run with Pete Buttigieg because he was a gay man. Yes, that's right. Well, that's their word. It's homosexual. But anyways, the bottom line is she couldn't run with Pete Buttigieg, so she ran with Tim Walz. Another truly. My Governor Timmy. Anyways, the day after Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump, for example, Representative Seth Moulton of Massachusetts told the New York Times, "I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be too afraid to say that?" In that moment, the floodgates seemed poised to open. Moulton's perspective, though taboo among much of the party's activist base, placed him firmly in the American mainstream. Surely, more Democrats would start coming out of the woodwork to advertise their moderate cultural views. And the idea of a radical Democratic Party would begin to fade away. In fact, in the ensuing 10 months, the floodgates have mostly stayed closed, with a few exceptions, notably California Governor Gavin Newsom, and less notably, former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who hasn't won an election since 2015. Democrats have avoided making comments similar to Moulton's, whether regarding trans athletes or other high-profile social issues on which the party is vulnerable, such as immigration and climate. And by the way, speaking of climate, folks, did you hear what Donald Trump said at the galldarned UN the other day? Wait, no, I gotta go to here. Safari. Just wait, I gotta open this one. Just wait. Did you guys hear what Trump said about global warming at the UN? This is so awesome. I'm going to play a little bit of it for you, because it's not just that we're getting scammed here on these budgets by funding these non-essential services, that Trump's now willing to fire people. The thing we always needed to happen during previous government shutdowns, okay? But listen to this.
82, the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that by the year 2000, climate change would cause a global catastrophe. He said that it will be irreversible, as any nuclear holocaust would be.
Okay, so this again, folks, back in 1982, said basically global warming was going to cause something as bad as a nuclear holocaust. I kid you not. President Trump pulls out the receipt. 1989. And this is true. So here we are. We're going back to a paper. It's Noel Brown. He said, ecological refugees will become a major concern. And what's worse is you may find that people can move to drier ground. Africa doesn't have to worry about land. But would you want to live in the Sahara? Come on. This is a UN official saying this. Okay?
This is what they said at the United Nations. What happened? Here we are. Another UN official stated in 1989 that within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map.
Wiped off the map, folks.
Not happening.
Not happening.
You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back.
Yeah, global cooling, folks, that was a thing in the 1970s. So I've looked this up. There's a cover of Newsweek magazine, and it talks about the next ice age. Okay? The next ice age.
Years ago, in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said, global cooling will kill the world.
Kill the
we have
world.
to do something. Then global warming will kill the world. But then it started getting cooler. So now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate
Change, folks, because you can't miss. If it's cooler, if it's warmer, it doesn't matter. I love this man. I love this man. And now he's willing to can these people to this government shutdown crap, so we don't have to get over $1 trillion in wasteful spending again. Back to this article, though, out of the Atlantic. Here we go. By the way, let me ask you a question, because this in the Atlantic, they talked about the notable exceptions. California Governor Gavin Newsom. Do any of you believe that Gavin Newsom has changed his positions on the trans issue? Yes or no? Seriously, do any of you honestly believe that in light of Gavin Newsom's public statements, that he's changed at all on that? That he really wants to moderate? Anybody? Of course not. This guy he's not changing. He just wants to get elected. This is a sign of a strange dynamic that has emerged in Democratic politics. Many pundits, strategists, it is the Atlantic. I know, I'll get a little more erudite and sophisticated, folks. This is a strange dynamic that has emerged in Democratic politics. Many pundits, strategists, and even elected officials recognize that the party has weakened itself by being out of touch, or at least perceived to be out of touch, on cultural issues. No, folks, they're not out of touch. They're just perceived. As Representative Richie Torres of New York told Time in May, we swung the pendulum too far to the left. But for the most part, the very same Democrats making that argument haven't followed it to its natural conclusion by moving significantly rightward on any major issue. Even Torres's election immigration flip-flop, as Politico put it, was to announce that he would no longer fight against the deportation of undocumented immigrants who have a criminal record. Countless Democrats are barnstorming the country and the media, stressing the need to broaden the party's appeal to reach voters where they are. But they have to prove, and they have yet to prove, that they are willing to do what it takes. Seemingly every other week, a Democrat gives a podcast interview or writes an op-ed about how the party must win back the working class voters it has alienated. Okay, do you think they're just going to win back working class voters? Okay, listen to this. If you are setting a table that people with mud on their boots and grease on their jeans do not feel comfortable at, Representative Kristen Rivet of Michigan told me in July, you are walking away from the Democratic agenda. But if you pay close attention, folks, to what these politicians say, you will struggle to find any evidence of them trying to stake out positions that might bring some of those blue-collar voters back into the fold. Folks, I am telling you, they are losing it. They have overplayed their hand. They do not have the cards. We don't care if government workers get fired. They've been fleecing us for far too long. How many of you, honestly, I know you know people who work for the federal government. My daughter has worked for the U.S. Forest Service, okay, in wild and firefighting, which I think is an actual reasonable use of our money, fighting wildland fires. Okay, I don't think gender ideology studies. Okay, my passion is triggering liberals in the chat. That's so awesome. Yeah, they want to complain about MyPillow. MyPillow.com/lumberjack or call 1-800-568-2865. Go support Mike Lindell. Come on, liberals. Go support Mike Lindell. He loves you. Do you know Mike Lindell loves everybody? He does. He does. He doesn't have guile in him. He actually loves you, liberals. Yeah. So you should go buy some of his pillows and get a good night's sleep. You need your REM and your Delta sleep. I love it. I just love it. I love it when they come in and try to, insult you and say, oh, My Pillow, what a joke. Your My Pillow link is the biggest joke. I go greater. I go harder, folks. Okay? Folks, it's just so awesome. This is so awesome. Donald Trump actually saying, hey, look, you guys can push this shutdown crap all you want, but we're just going to fire the workers then. And you know what happens when they fire the workers? These are the same workers who give to the Democrat Party because federal employees, by far and away, are liberal. So why would we continue funding these people and having their union dues go in to then pay for Democrat campaigns? Because that's the great tragedy of all of this, that our tax dollars are being used against us. Okay? Anyways, do me a favor, smash that like before you leave. Please go check out my sponsor, MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack, or call the 800 number, 1-800-568-2865. The towels are back in stock. They are the best towels you will ever use. I'm not kidding about that. You try them, you will know. They don't have softeners, fillers, waxy fillers like the ones at the stores to make them feel soft, and yet they don't absorb anything. These are the most absorbent, softest towels you will ever use in your life. Secondly, the sheets, $29.88. Once they're gone, they're gone. He's already running out of a number of them. So if you want to get your Christmas gifts, go get them. And on top of that, free shipping and the premium My Pills. Look at the top 3 deals when you click the link. It's right in the pinned comment. But folks, this is the greatest news. Donald Trump responds to the Democrats in this way. And I will guarantee you the Democrats are trying to figure out what the heck to do right now. Oh, Jonathan Tay said get some Giza sheets. I am telling you, the Giza sheets are the best. I mean, these Percale ones are on sale for $29.88. But if you really want to treat yourself for Christmas, or you've got a person you love, get them some Giza sheets. I mean, they're unbelievable. Anyways, but folks, this is this is the greatest thing this is the greatest news story I will see today. So to respond to the government shutdown, if you didn't get it on at the beginning, you can go back and catch it because there was I went through a piece on that. So do yourself a favor because it's incredible, because Donald Trump is preparing federal agencies for mass firings. in case of a government shutdown. I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it. I love you folks. You're awesome. Keep fighting the good fight. All right. Peace out.